Good morning, grade twos. It's Mrs. G here today. For those of you who don't know me, I will be joining the grade two teaching staff, and I've met a couple of you who are at school, but I really look forward to meeting the rest of you soon. And you're going to be hearing my voice on a couple of videos from now on, so we'll get to know each other a bit more as time goes on. So today's video for life skills for the 6th of July 2020 is going to be on reptiles. So you've been doing animals for the past few weeks, and we are now going to focus this week on reptiles. Right, let's just recap on last week's lesson. You learned all about amphibians, and we learned that amphibians were cold-blooded, that they live in water and on land, that they breathe using their lungs, but some also breathe through their skin. We learned that they have smooth, slimy skin and that they lay eggs. We learned specifically about frogs and toads, and we had some really cool videos explaining the differences, and then you completed your worksheet on amphibians. So that's just to recap what you did last week, which was all about amphibians. Right, let's learn about reptiles today. Before we learn what reptiles are, you can see there in the corner is a picture of a snake. And I don't know about you, but I find snakes so interesting. I know some people find snakes very scary, but I think they're just such interesting animals. And I wanted to tell you a few interesting facts about snakes before we carry on with reptiles. And the first fact is that snakes don't have eyelids. Snakes can't bite their food, so they have to swallow it whole. So they don't have teeth like we do to chew it. So they swallow their food whole and digest it whole. Did you know that snakes have internal ears, but not external ones? So they don't have ears like we do on the side of our head. Their ears are inside. There are around 3,000 different species of snakes. That's a lot of different types of snakes that you can find. And the last interesting fact is that snakes shed their skin a number of times a year. And this process lasts a few days. So they get a new skin a few times a year. Okay, let's carry on with reptiles. In general now, reptiles are cold-blooded. They like to live in warm areas. They breathe using their lungs, and they are covered in scales, and sometimes some reptiles are covered in shells. Now, can you think of a reptile that has a shell? Reptiles are also vertebrates. Now remember, you've learnt about vertebrates, and vertebrates are animals that have a backbone, and most reptiles lay eggs. Now a little fact for you, did you know an iguana is a lizard, except it has spikes running down its back? Iguanas are active during the day, feeding on leaves, flowers, and fruit, which means they're herbivores. They don't eat meat. They generally live near water and are excellent swimmers. And there in the picture, where the arrow's pointing, you can see the spikes on its back. Okay, now we're going to watch a little clip about reptiles. So listen carefully and see what you can remember.
Hello everyone, today we're going to learn about some very interesting vertebrate animals. We present the reptiles. Reptiles are vertebrate animals which are characterized by their special way of moving. Many move by dragging their tummy or abdomen on or close to the ground. Their name in Latin means just that. Reptare means to crawl or slither. Many are terrestrial, but there are also some that live in water. All reptiles have a number of characteristics we should know about so we can recognize them. Reptiles are cold-blooded animals that breathe with their lungs. They are oviparous, that is, they reproduce by eggs. When the eggs develop and hatch, the babies are just like their parents, but very small. Aren't they cute? As you can see, reptiles' skin is covered with strong, tough scales, and some, like tortoises, even have a shell. It looks like he has his house on his back, doesn't it? As for feeding, well, most reptiles are carnivorous. They hunt. Like this crocodile which has just eaten this poor rodent. Or this cute chameleon with its long, sticky tongue that catches all kinds of insects. Look, look! As we said already, most reptiles are carnivorous, but some, like this iguana, are herbivorous. There are lots of interesting things you should know about reptiles, such as most snakes have venom in their fangs. But they're not as bad as they seem, because they warn us of danger with their bright colours or the sound of their rattles. Chameleons are very curious. They can change colour, copying the landscape around them. They blend in with the background so no one can see them, and they become almost invisible. So let's remember the most important characteristics of reptiles. Reptiles walk by dragging their tummy on or close to the ground. They are oviparous, and their body is covered with strong, hard scales. They are vertebrates and are cold-blooded. And remember, they breathe with their lungs. Reptiles really are quite interesting, aren't they? Well, goodbye for now, everyone, and don't forget to subscribe to Happy Learning.
I hope you enjoyed that and you learned lots, and you're going to remember all the information they told you about reptiles. Now, your task for today is, what you're going to need is your red life skills book, your roll-up crayons, or if you don't have roll-up crayons, your pencil crayons, and make sure they're sharp, and a ruler. And you're going to open up onto page 34 of your Red Life Skills book, and you're going to match the correct picture with the correct word. But be very careful that you've got the correct picture and the correct word, and make sure you use your ruler to draw a straight line joining the two together. And once you've done that, you can send a picture to your teacher and color in the pictures on the page. Thank you, grade 2s. I hope you have a good rest of your day. Bye.